Warning! The following podcast contains content generally aimed at an adult audience. This includes swear words, discussions of adult themes, and adult jokes. It also contains discussions of Dragon Ball GT. Negatively aimed discussions. So if you don't want to hear any of that, I highly recommend that you do not listen. But otherwise, enjoy.
Hello everyone, I am Zazubaar. Welcome to this week's episode of The Demons from Outer Space, episode 60-something. It's episode 60-something.
4, 5, 3?
Yeah, I think it's 60. Yeah, it's 64. We're at 64, kids. Almost definitely. But probably not. So been a while, been a little bit since I've been in front of the microphone at all. Been posting some older videos lately. But joining me, of course, I have my trusty sidekick and co-host, Dillion McCandless, a.k.a. Super DM64.
Hi.
So, Dylan, we've got a couple things we want to cover tonight that we kind of had built up for the past 2 weeks.
It's 63.
Yeah, no, is it?
Yeah, I just checked.
You sure it's not 64?
I just checked. It would have been 64 if we hadn't skipped last week, but...
Right, we did, and by the way, we did skip last week. We posted the episode that we recorded previously, episode 62, a little bit late. And last week I was really exhausted from the semester, and I was like, Dylan, let's just not do the show tonight, dude, because I'm exhausted. Let's just start fresh next week. So that's what we're doing tonight. And some things have happened in the past week that we wanted to cover in tonight's episode they cover the gambit from bizarrely controversial, which we've talked about in the show recently, things that have cropped up with our own show that have been strangely controversial. We've also got some news for stuff that actually happened a long time ago that we kept forgetting to cover. And then we're going to cover something I like to call might be true, but probably not true.
Probably not.
So, Dylan, why don't you introduce us to our first topic for the evening for the strangely controversial part of the show? Because you're the one who wanted to... Basically, Dylan, you're the one who brought all this to my attention. But let's start off with the first thing, Bo. What was the first thing you wanted to talk about tonight?
All right, so there was recently some controversy. We're both big Louis C.K. fans.
Huge. I'm a big fan of Louis. Huge fan.
Big fan of...
Love his TV show, love his stand-up, love everything about him.
Big fan of Louis. Don't have a top 10 list of stand-up comedians, but if I did, he'd be way up there.
Might be my number one. He could potentially be my number one. I love Louis C.K.
I would need to give it some thought, but probably.
Me too, but almost certainly he would be. Him, Ricky Gervais, fucking Gaffigan, those guys would be up there pretty high.
He recently returned to Saturday Night Live, and when I say returned, I mean he's hosted a few times. He was never a guest.
Oh, has he really?
Yeah, he's hosted a few times.
Okay. And this is their 40th anniversary, by the way.
Right. This year has been their 40th anniversary, and this last episode that he hosted was the season finale for their 40th anniversary, so it's kind of a big episode. He goes up to do the opening monologue, and he does a pretty standard Louis C.K. bit.
Very standard. And not that it wasn't funny. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Some of the jokes that I think got all the controversy, I think he said some of that before. I feel like I've heard it before.
All the material he covered is stuff that he has done before.
Yeah. But anyway, he made a few jokes about a particular topic, child molestation.
Again, ground he has tread before.
Ground he has tread before.
Several times, almost in all of his stand-up specials, there have been a plethora of jokes regarding child molestation.
He did a hilarious job, but he drew some major controversy. There was a lot of backlash on I think it was Facebook. I first heard about the story because I saw it on TV. Like it kind of blew up in his face.
In what sense? I haven't seen any of the actual controversy. I literally just watched the actual monologue. So what was the actual extent and kind of specifics of the controversy? Was it just the bit about, because the whole bit, and if you want to watch it, I'll put it in the description below. So I actually suggest you give it a listen or watch rather before we go on.
Yeah.
Because it's really funny, and also you'll be able to get more of the specifics of the stuff we're going to talk about.
The part that drew the controversy, it wasn't the part in the beginning, the spiel about casual racism. It was,
which is what I thought would, because he's tackled kind of racist casual tendencies before. But I almost thought that was almost the more controversial bit, because when you told me, like, oh, the child molestation stuff was the stuff that people really took offense to, I listened to it and I'm like, he has said this a million times before.
Exactly. The bit that everybody freaked out about was the child molestation bit, specifically the part where he says, we have to surmise that it must be really good.
Yeah, okay, that is the bit.
That was the particular joke that everybody freaked out about. Again, he said it in his specials before. The problem here
is that it was on network television.
Exactly. He did it in the wrong forum. The people who are freaking out over this are people who have probably never watched a stand-up comedy special before in their life, particularly not one of his. You know, these are people who were just watching network TV and heard these jokes and freaked out. This is awful.
Right.
But it's pretty standard him is the thing.
And I think we're somewhat desensitized to that, maybe, because we're such big fans of him and because we're so used to that kind of freedom of a stand-up special where you can say basically anything.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people who might not watch a lot of stand-up specials, especially from people like him or Jim Jeffries or so on and so forth, I don't think really realize just how far jokes can go.
Yeah, Jim Jeffries is a good example because, oh my God, some of the absolutely heinous things he has said in his specials. Not to say they aren't funny. I'm a reasonably big fan of Jim Jeffries. He might break my top 10 if we ever did the top 10 stand-up comedians.
He would have to break mine now that I've watched Legit.
Yeah, Legit is pretty brilliant. And his stand-up specials are also quite good.
Well, Legit is like the second best comedy TV show. The first, of course, being Louis.
And they are quite similarly kind of toned, and they both were on FX, to be fair. So there's a certain reason for that. There's a little bit of an expectation.
But they're also very different shows.
Yeah, their structure is completely different because Legit has a progression and a plot, and Louis is completely the opposite. As much as I don't like the Nostalgia Critic these days, or haven't been liking him, he said something pretty spot on a long time ago when he did like his top 10 favorite TV shows, and he talked about Louis, and he was like, more than Seinfeld, this is the show about nothing.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was absolutely spot on, and it's a good show about nothing because it's just so unique in that sense because it's a show about nothing.
Seinfeld was kind of a lie. They sold it as a show about nothing, but it was about lots of things.
It's about nothing in that it doesn't have a overarching plot or even a real premise aside from there's a stand-up comedian, he's about his friends are kind of horrible people, but they're hilarious and charming. And my mother is screaming in the background. I apologize for that.
To be fair, Louis kind of starts to go away from the whole being a show about nothing later on. Like, the first season is pretty much that. And then
I haven't gotten past the first season, to be fair.
Okay, yeah. He starts to do some more plot-based things later on, because you can't really do a show about nothing for that long, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends on how far you go with that idea of the show about nothing, in terms of what exactly that means.
There's a great two-parter in the third season that's like all the flashback of him as a teenager, and like it's this story of how he starts smoking pot. It's very fascinating episode.
My favorite episode so far was the episode about him going to church as a kid, because it's probably the most real the show had gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Like the show that was about something truly about kind of the negative impact that hardcore teaching of religion to kids can be. And of course, it's a highly exaggerated take on Catholicism. And it is it is mostly taking jabs at Catholicism more than every single religion. And it's highly exaggerated, but it does make a point of there's a point at the end where his mother is talking about religion.
Yeah, that's an excellent episode. There's also this bit I love in season 3. He starts dating this chick named Pam, who had been a character before on the show. And I think her name's Pam. Anyway, at one point she goes and meets his ex-wife. And they have a casual, kind of awkward conversation. Then they go back to his place, and she asked the question that I had been asking since I first started watching the show. She said, "Louis, how is your ex-wife black?" And he was like, "What?"
Oh.
And he was like, "Oh, my ex-wife can't be black." And she was like, "No, but and then she brings up the point that they have 2 white children together.
Yeah. Wait, his ex-wife in the show is black?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And I looked it up. I was like, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be an explanation. Those kids must actually be mixed and just have recessive white genes or something.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
But the woman even said, "Were you there? Did you see those babies come out of her juicy black pussy?" Anyway,
Is that a line?
That is.
That's amazing. Is his ex-wife in real life black?
No, just in the show.
Oh, okay.
But in reality, what it was that he simply made his ex-wife in the show black because the actress tried out and he thought she was best for the part and he didn't feel the need to explain it. But it's really fucking weird to watch, especially since there's a flashback in one of the other episodes that shows them at an earlier point in their marriage and she's white in the flashback.
That's pretty amazing. It's kind of like how in the new Fantastic Four movie, Brandon, what's his name? Brandon T. Johnson, whatever his name is. He was asked, what is the explanation in the film for why your father is black, why Professor Stone is black, and why you're black, and why Sue Storm is white? Is she adopted? Is she, stepsister, whatever? Just why is he? And he said, why does it have to be explained? We don't explain it at all. But it doesn't. There's tons of families out there where just black parent, black kid, white kid. Who cares? It's well. I mean, it'd be nice to get something because they're in the comics. Doesn't play that way.
Yeah. Well, in that case, you can kind of theorize, like you were just doing. Oh, is she adopted? Blah 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 blah. In the case of the Louis thing, it's that was a white man and a black woman, and they have produced the most Nordic, little white girls I have ever seen.
Right. Yeah, no, there's certainly a point to be made there, but
It's just bizarre. The show's very experimental anyway.
Oh God, dude, that episode where he goes to the dentist and he gets the gas, and he has this hallucination about how he goes to see Osama bin Laden in the fucking desert.
That was great.
And how he basically convinces Osama bin Laden that he's a fucking asshole, and he's just holy shit, dude, you're right, I'm an asshole. He's yeah, I know, right, aren't you? He's I'm gonna give this whole thing up. This is fucked up. He's right? I mean, you blew up 2 billion. What the fuck? He's I know, right? That's crazy. It's amazing. And then, he starts eating this banana, and then, he cuts into reality, and his dentist is unzipping his pants.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Anyway, so back to this controversy over his mom.
At some point we started reviewing Louis.
Yeah, we could do that later. So
you'd have to watch the rest of it first.
That's very true.
To be fair, I have to watch this last season that just aired because it was not...
Yeah, because it's still on, unlike Legit, which is completely over.
Those
sadly.
bastards.
I've only seen season 1. And you told me that in season 2 ends on a cliffhanger.
No, season 3. Yeah.
No, of Legit.
Yeah, there were 3. I think there were. No, wait, maybe there were only.
No, there were only. I'm positive there were only 2 seasons.
Let me double check this, but I think you might be right.
I'm almost positive. But so this Louis C.K. controversy, again, it's entirely because it was on network television, and network television is just people watch that and they don't expect to see truly just somebody saying stuff like that. It's just that's something you see on an HBO special.
You gotta think.
And listen,
network television is what many people rely on to babysit their children. And do you want your babysitter talking to your children about child molestation?
And do you think SNL is something that kids watch?
I don't know, man. I'm not a kid.
But I think to a certain extent, what the content of the monologue was definitely. I'm not shocked that people were offended, and I'm not shocked because it was actually funny. Whenever I watched those monologues,
it was pretty fucking funny.
It was great. I was laughing a lot. I mean, he's just an amazing comedian,
Well,
and the whole thing that he does, that I just always love, is just taking things that people really think and saying them. He's taking things that people don't ever want to say out loud and just saying them like, this is what you think. If you don't think that, you're stupid and you're lying to yourself. And that's what I find so brilliant about his comedy, and that's what this bit is all about. The whole casual racism, the whole child molestation thing. It's something that everybody thinks, but nobody says it out loud because they're fucking horrible things. He did a whole bit about that.
Yeah, that's one of the big backlashes that people have been doing against the bit. They're like, it wasn't even funny. Child molestation is never funny. I was like, yeah, it was pretty fucking funny.
Oh, no. The point he made about it is pretty fucking funny. But you've also got to watch it and realize, like, this dude is joking. And he is saying these things because they're shocking, and that's what makes them funny, is that they're so horrible, but he's laughing at them.
I don't think most people understand social satire.
No, not at all. It's lost on a lot of people.
I remember there was a bit Daniel Tosh once did about, like, if... I don't remember.
This is about the rape thing?
I don't know.
Where somebody in the audience was like, rape isn't funny. He's like, wouldn't it be so fucked up if that girl just got raped right now? I hope that happens. I hope just a bunch of people come up to and rape her.
No,
that is fucked up.
That's not what I'm talking about. That was kind of fucked up, though.
Yeah, it is kind of
They made an episode of SVU based on that. Anyway,
Did they really?
Yeah, they had this, like, comedian character who made, like, all these rape jokes, and then he wound up being a rapist himself, and...
Oh, okay. Well, that's not based on that. Then that's just kind of using that as a springboard into a.
No, but I mean, the thing.
Unless Daniel Tosh later on turns out to be a rapist, which would make this podcast a little bit awkward and certainly make my face turn red.
The setup of the episode was very much based on that. Like the jokes he made were very similar to that sort of thing that you were just saying. Anyway, though, I was watching a special of his one time, and he said something about, I don't remember who the two dudes were. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe David Beckham and somebody else. Anyway, like two really, like, attractive dudes. He was like, if they somehow got together and made a baby, it would be like the most beautiful baby on the planet. And then he said, if I had found a genie and I had 3 wishes, I would use all 3 of those wishes banging that baby.
And he got backlash for that.
No, he didn't.
Because it's about... Oh, he didn't?
No, he didn't, because it was in a stand-up special.
Right, exactly. Because it's expected to hear something that's like that. But the other thing that drives me crazy is, like, it's not like he's saying these things and it's just like, am I right? Am I right? And doesn't acknowledge the fact that, like, the thing I just said is horrible.
Black people. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I told that story on a podcast.
You might have.
It's on SOS somewhere, for sure. If not... Nah, I don't want to tell that story now. You can go back to find some episode of SOS.
Go find that episode, and then you'll be far less offended by what I just said.
Exactly. It'll make perfect sense.
Am I
no
right?
Racism at all.
Am I right?
Am I right? And I'm just like, So,
when he says, from their point of view, it must be really good, he isn't saying that child molestation is really good, nor is that actually what he's...
But he also makes a really good point with the comparison of just like, it's kind of like me enjoying a Mounds bar?
Yeah, he compares it to a Mounds candy bar. Again, this is not actually him saying raping children is as good as chocolate.
Although he did kind of say that jokingly.
Really, what it's...
But the whole thing is like...
Really, what it's the story about is people who are child molesters and how they can't control their urges. That's what it's really about.
It's really about that whole section of his monologue is really about how, isn't it crazy the lengths that people will go to do something like this that is this high risk?
Yeah.
Because if you get caught, it is like the worst possible thing you can get caught doing. So the funny point he made was, well, it must be really great for them if they're willing to take those risks.
Precisely.
So that was the only point he was making.
He kind of realized that he had stepped in a shithole. At one point during the monologue, he's like, how do you think I feel? This is probably my last show.
Yeah, exactly. Has he responded to the backlash at all in any way?
I really don't know.
Because I know he doesn't really use social media. He's not really a big fan. I know he doesn't have a Twitter, at least to my knowledge. Maybe he does, and I just don't know about it.
I don't know if he's really responded to it or not. I mean, it's not really worth responding to be honest.
No, it's not, because it's probably nothing he hasn't already heard. I think the difference here in why it's become newsworthy is because it happened in a venue that people saw. I mean, not only did it happen on network television, but it also happened on a major show like Saturday Night Live during its 40th year when it was celebrating an anniversary. So I think that people kind of like, it was just not the right time or place.
All of my favorite comedians have a bit like this. A bit that they should never ever do on television, and yet Louis decided to. For example,
I mean, listen, for example, it's ballsy as shit.
For example, Bill Burr should never go on primetime television and do his bit about spousal abuse.
Right, exactly. Bill Burr should never go on network television at all.
So the part where he was talking about the Chris Brown.
He did his one role on Breaking Bad, and that was it.
He was talking about the Chris Brown thing. He was like, I really want to know what happened to get him to that point. And it was hilarious because I had been thinking the same thing.
Of just the mundanity of these two celebrities and all the fucking crazy chaos that ensued in the media following that. So it was just kind of a discussion of what must have gotten him to that place? Was it something really stupid? Just what do you mean the milk is sour? Just something that completely mundane.
Well, yeah, and there are dudes that will go off on a woman for ridiculously stupid things like that. But at the same time, there are also most cases, and people don't like to talk about this, the woman will say something really shitty.
It's people fighting. It's what happens, it's...
Quit whining about it. Take a Tybo class,
All right, Dylan, let's not attract the same controversy that has afflicted Louis C.K. Not that this is network television. Or is it? Maybe I've been trying to sell these to a network.
It's pretty fucking far from network television.
I haven't heard anything back yet. I've been trying to sell this to NBC. Really? They haven't responded to any of my emails
really?
Yet.
Nobody wants to put a podcast on television, I'm shocked.
No, nobody wants to put the Demons from Outer Space, which gets usually about 180 views a week on network television, where it has no visuals aside from this one title card and a decent intro sequence with a already copyrighted song and background, because all that background is it's a screwed up coloring of the Doctor Who vortex.
They would have to turn it into a legitimate show where they would have to fly us out every week. It would get really expensive.
And not worth it at all, because this show is not worth putting on network television. You know how you could do it? You could do it for really any podcast, is you just have to take the podcast that we record, send it to a studio, edit the crap out of it, and then just make it animated, and just have the animation reflect what we're talking about. Almost do it like not a news show, but the Ricky Gervais show did it. The Ricky Gervais HBO show where it was animated, and they animated some of the bits from that podcast. It was fucking awesome. Of course, that wasn't network television.
Indeed.
That was HBO. So
ours would be really shitty.
That too. I mean, ours would be horrible. It wouldn't be funny at all.
Based on the conversation we've just been having, it would involve me striking a woman and then telling her to quit crying and take Tybo classes. So. And
I'm just Dylan, that's kind of fucked up. You're like, shut up, Bill, and then you hit me, and it becomes about how you're an abusive asshole, and you need help. It becomes really sad.
I mean, you saw what happened to Andres.
Yeah, Andres, he went off on a tirade of spousal abuse. Because that's something that Andres did. He beat his non-existent spouses. I'm not specifying gender, age, or anything else, just to make it less offensive to both Andres and the listenership at large.
Mm.
Just to cover my ass. Because that's what I like to do on the show, is cover my ass.
Even though you're not really covering it from anything, because as we've already established, nobody listens to this show.
No, yeah, it doesn't really matter, because nobody gives a shit. But in my head, people give a shit, so I like to cover my ass for the non-existent people who give a shit.
I mean, it was bad enough to keep us from doing a thing at a convention, so that's something.
That is something. Well, not this show, but the other show.
Well,
But same tone, I guess.
There are times
bunch of Godzilla fans saying things about that Godzilla that maybe shouldn't be said.
At times we get more controversial on this show than we do on that show.
We absolutely do.
Because on that show, the controversy is like, Godzilla's a fleshlight. On here, it's like, fuck.
And people are like, Godzilla can't be a fleshlight. And on this show, we're like, Bruce Jenner is becoming a woman. Isn't that fucked up?
On this show, it's more like, so spousal abuse, when is it okay?
That's the title of this week's episode. See how many viewers we get this week. Spousal abuse, when is it okay? A very special Demons from Outer Space podcast.
The answer to that question is self-defense.
This is opening with Dylan smoking a pipe, just like, question, when is it okay to beat the shit out of your spouse? The answer may surprise you.
Back in the 50s.
when a man's house was his castle.
It was a simpler time, a better time.
And ice cream was only a dime.
Spanking your wife was socially acceptable, not just fun in the bedroom.
I also don't know if ice cream was only a dime in the 50s. Did they even have ice cream in the 50s?
Of course they had ice cream in the 50s.
I don't know, Dylan. I wasn't around in the 50s.
I wasn't either, but they had ice cream.
My only exposure to the 50s has been Godzilla.
I've seen ice cream
and Indiana Jones 4. And neither of those things include ice cream. Which is actually not true because there are milkshakes in Indiana Jones 4.
I've seen ice cream in movies set in the 50s and from the 50s. And even before that, like back in the 19-teens, you know, in those like old-timey like towns, people would get together and go to like a ice cream social.
So what you're telling me is that I'm wrong?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So I don't really know if there's any much more to say about this. It's just kind of stupid, and no, it's not stupid. I don't think stupid is the right word because I do think that people have a right to be somewhat shocked that was available on network television, that was shown on network television on a show that...
Right.
You know, Saturday Night Live is not necessarily a show that I would show to my young children, but I can see why people might be kind of shocked of like, well, it's Saturday Night Live, you know, I watch this for kind of escapism and, you know, for kind of light, you know, Hollywood-esque entertainment. I don't come on here to think about child molestation and casual racism.
Maybe next time, young boy. Nah.
Yeah. What was his name? Jean. What was the local child molester's name?
He said it was Jean Baptiste, which I'm pretty sure.
Jean Baptiste. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a reference to something.
Sounds like a Bond villain.
It's a very.
Oh, Mr. Bond, would you like to go to McDonald's with me?
It's a very French name.
Just on a very special episode or movie of James Bond. When is it okay to beat the shit out of a child molester? The answer will not surprise you. Anytime at all.
Which reminds me, you know, when you watch Louis, I kind of get the feeling that Louis is a bit of a Francophile.
A what?
A Francophile.
What is that?
A person with a strong proclivity towards French culture.
I have never gotten that at all, but that's really interesting. What makes you say that?
There are a lot of, like, French music cues and shit. There's, like, French music all over the show, especially, like, later. And also, I don't know, there are a lot of episodes that feel like you're watching, like, an artsy, like, French film. Like, the way it's, you know, that very experimental vibe that it has.
Yeah.
It's very French.
Okay. I mean, Louis, it's kind of a French name, right?
Yeah.
French name Louis.
Kind of. I don't know if he actually is a Francophile. It's just something I sort of picked up on.
We don't want to start controversy if Louis is a Francophile.
He's gonna like get mad at us, be like, I hate the French. We're gonna be like, all right.
Fuck the French. Fuck the children. Hate them all. They should all burn in hell. All right, Louis. Thanks for the special cameo on this week's episode of the Demons from Outer Space.
So Louis, if you hate the French so much, what?
I really hope that happens now because our viewership will increase tenfold if Louis C.K. somehow hears this podcast and gets really offended that we thought he was a Francophile. You know, if someone listening knows Louis C.K., which is highly unlikely because we've already established that nobody listens to the show, then, I mean, enough people listen where they can get offended when we talk about the Lost World Theory, but not enough where they might know Louis C.K.
So Louis, what did you think of that war where, like, the British, like, kicked the French's ass? It's my favorite war!
It's my favorite war! I jerk off to that war every day. Or no, it's like, what do you think of the war where the French lost? Which one? All of them. All of the wars. Because the French lost every war.
You're forgetting that brief period.
The French Revolution, the French lost that war.
You're forgetting about the Napoleon years. It's like...
Nobody talks about those years. Those years didn't happen.
I'm not a military historian, but I can't think of...
Are you not really? Because, sometimes I get suspicious. Like, is Dylan a military historian?
But, I mean...
Sometimes I have my fleeting suspicion.
But, I mean, I've never really... I can't off the top of my head name any other times in history aside from Napoleon that the French have been particularly good at war. You can see the same thing in the Canadians, man.
The Canadians kind of kicked ass in World War II.
The Canadians were even in World War II? I didn't even...
Yeah, they were. I mean, they fought basically... I mean, haven't you ever read a Wolverine comic? The Canadians were heavily involved in World War II.
Oh, because Wolverine was in World War II. Therefore,
he
represents all of Canada.
He kind of does. He's Canada's quote status quo superhero. He fuck Captain Canuck. It's fucking Wolverine.
But here's the thing: even though Wolverine is like Canadian,
fuck Alpha Flight, Wolverine, damn it.
Even though Wolverine's Canadian, he's like the exact opposite of like every other Canadian person. Like
in what sense? Because he's violent and like, aggressive and hates everybody and doesn't smoke weed?
He's like, come here, bub, I'm gonna, stab you in the fucking jugular. And most Canadians are like, oh, hey, let's be polite, eh?
Oh, wait, that's quite a truce, eh?
Oh, wait.
That's gonna make a mess. We're gonna have to clean that up. I gotta get some industrial strength cleaning detergent, eh?
Hey.
Wolverine's just looking at him like, best I can, but what I do isn't very nice. Oh, that's not worth doing then, eh? Only nice things are worth doing. That's the healthcare system up here in Canada, unlike them fucking states, eh? You want to be not nice things, you go down to the fucking states. You hop over the river to Detroit, fight RoboCop. Because he's real, eh?
A fucking American gets broken down.
Because both Wolverine and RoboCop are real and will fight.
A fucking American gets broken down on a Canadian road and their phone isn't working. And then here comes a mountain riding their, like, goat or whatever they ride. And
a mountain riding a goat?
No,
what?
A mountie.
They ride fucking horses.
Whatever the fuck they ride.
How does a person ride a goat?
It's a good question. Anyway, they show up, and the Mountie's like, hey, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm broken down. I need to call AAA. And he's like, oh, you're trying to get to Alcoholics Anonymous?
You mean AAA?
And he's like, oh, you're trying to get to Alcoholics Anonymous? And he's like, no, AAA. Oh, you mean AAA? No, AAA.
And then the American just shoots the Canadian. Not for any real reason other than, I'm an American, you're a Canadian, I must murder you out of spite.
Getting a really strong anti-Canada vibe from these people. I almost said...
Hey, I don't think these podcasts, The Demons from Outer Space, big fan of Canada, eh? I think they're kind of anti-Canuck.
I almost said Canada.
They're Canuckist. They don't like us.
Not Canada.
I think that's very offensive, eh?
Not Canada. You're great. And it would just...
I'm a pretty moderate fan of Canada. I think they've got a cool flag. I like a flag. Listen, the mascot for our podcast network is a Canadian moose who is the guardian of the Great White North.
And there's only one thing that I really can hold against Canada, and that is that they refuse to take back Justin Bieber.
That is a problem. They will not take back the Biebs.
We've tried. We're like, we don't want your gift.
Your gift. More like your fucking garbage, your trash.
Please
that you shat out down on top of the States.
Please return to sender. But they're just like, no, you can keep it, May. And we're like,
no, they didn't leave a return address, so we're stuck with them.
We don't know where
stuck with constantly putting them in prison or wondering if we should have put them in prison and then releasing him anyway because, our government sucks giant monkey dicks.
We don't know the number to Canada's P.O. box or anything, so it's like...
No, I don't know if Canada has P.O. boxes. I don't know how their whole country works. Are they even do they even have, like, roads? Or is it just dirt trails?
I don't know.
That horses ride along with carriages. Do they even have cars in Canada?
I don't know. That's...
Does anybody even live in Canada aside from hairy men and Sasquatches and moose?
Listen, I've never been to Canada.
I have actually been to Canada.
But based on what I saw in that episode of That 70s Show, there's not much going on.
Yeah, except that they think that Mexicans are trying to hop the border from America to Canada. That was maybe the funniest part of that whole... And that was a great episode.
Because they had just so much damn fun hopping our border, they thought they'd hop another one.
Yeah, they say, it was great that first time, let's hop another one. F-it. Because I didn't really do a Mexican accent, so I had to throw like one word in there that was quasi-Mexican, so I threw in Jefe. Because I watched Godzilla the series when I was a kid, and I know the word Jefe.
Oh, that fucking word.
What about that word, Dylan? Is it a dirty word?
No, he said it too often and got on my nerves.
Oh, okay.
It's like his catchphrase, man. He'd be like, "Hey, F-hey," I'm like, "Die."
He does say it a lot. Basically, in any cartoon where there is a Latino character, he says the word F-A to an excess. I think that's pretty much a general statement that makes sense. Do you agree?
Sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Are we done talking about Louis?
I think we are. I think we've said basically everything that we could ever possibly say without repeating ourselves. Basically, fuck the controversy, but you kind of right. I think is basically the point we've tried to make.
People just need to understand that the climate of stand-up comedy
is very different from network television because, you know, it's actually funny and watchable and not just commercialized nonsense. I think that's the thing that people need to realize, accept, and embrace. And
right.
So far, that doesn't really seem like it's going to happen.
Don't get your Bob Saget from Full House.
He is like the best example of this very phenomenon. Like, people watch him on Full House, like, oh my god, Danny Tanner, he's such a lovable, wholesome, hilarious, fun-loving guy.
And then he used to host.
And then they go to bad.
And then he used to host, America's Funniest Home Videos, and it'd be like, oh look, the cute dog's doing something funny. And then he fucking gets up on his stand-up bit, and he's like fucking, I don't know, coming on.
I have fucked every woman in this room several times, and I have a catalog of diseases I want to talk about.
He's like fucking coming on Eleanor Roosevelt's face and shit. So like,
because that's what Bob Saget does in his spare time. He comes in Eleanor Roosevelt's face, which is difficult because I'm pretty sure she's dead. But that doesn't stop Bob Saget because he's Bob Saget, and goddamn it, he's gonna come in Eleanor Roosevelt's face.
He just does all kinds of dirty shit,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, shit.
Like not hugging people, very dirty thing not to do. That's some shady ass shit. I don't trust anybody who doesn't hug people. Dylan, this is a fact that I feel.
People, you don't trust me? People.
Never. Not in 1,000 years.
People who only know Eddie Murphy as the Nutty Professor, would probably be shocked if they watched some of his shit from the 80s.
His stuff isn't as bad as Bob Saget, but his is a little bit more homophobic, though.
It's like super offensive to a modern ear, which is hilarious.
Yeah, you gotta. That's a lot of problems with like 70s, 80s stand-up comedy. It's very.
He starts his fucking act. All right, I got one rule: none of you faggots looking at my butt. All right? I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty racy. And not in like that erotic way, more in that like, my heart is racing because I'm like, I don't know if I should be offended.
I kind of want to find some stand-up.
By this 30-year-old stand-up special.
I kind of want to find some like stand-up comedy from like the 50s, just to hear some.
It is, I'll tell you something, it's not funny at all.
Just so I can hear some like.
It is like the unfunniest thing you will ever.
I just want to see like a chest.
Inflict upon yourself.
I just want to see like this chesty like white dude with a cigar and a Hawaiian shirt, just like the epitome of a white dude from like the 50s, and he's like doing a bit, and he's like, so the other day I was striking my wife,
and I was thinking to myself, I always forget if we have ice cream in this time period. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, they've had ice cream around for 100 years. Everybody claps. They don't laugh, because laughing is considered offensive to the comedian who's performing, so they clap. Because that's how you express that you find something funny, is that you clap.
The other day,
not laugh uncontrollably and drool onto your pillow, which is what I do when I find something funny.
The other day I punched my wife in the face and told her to make me a sandwich, and then I farted in my daughter's face. And I thought to myself, this is...
Because she looked at a boy mildly.
And I thought to myself...
I could see in her eyes that she was like, I like the cut of his jib.
And I thought to myself, this is why I won the war.
My house is my castle. God bless America. Damn the Russians. Because that's what they said back in the 1950s. Dylan, let's talk about Dragon Ball Z, shall we? So Dylan, what is the thing that we should have talked about a while ago that we're going to talk about now relating to Dragon Ball Z.
A few weeks ago.
I guess there's a couple. We should kind of give a Dragon Ball Z State of the Union, I think, as to the state of the franchise at the moment.
A few weeks ago, it was announced that after the upcoming movie, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, or Fukatsu no F in the original Japanese, a movie that I'm so...
Fukatsu no F! You got no F!
A movie that I am fucking stoked for.
When does that come out in America with
I
the full
wish I
tolerable dub?
I wish I fucking knew, Bill. I keep, looking for a release date, and all it keeps saying is summer 2015, and I'm like, fuck you.
Summer 2015.
I want a real fucking date. If that comes out when I'm up there, fuck Terminator Genesis.
I'll fuck it up its metal John Connor probing ass. We're gonna go see that movie. Absolutely. I'll probably have to drive to, the middle of nowhere and almost be molested by John Baptiste and go to McDonald's,
just don't go near his house, just don't go near his house.
Yeah, just bear in mind the local child molester and don't go to McDonald's with him. It will be fine.
I would say don't get in the car, but apparently you get, McDonald's and it's very easy to escape from. So actually, yeah, get in the car.
And we could probably kick his ass if he tried anything, because we're pretty big guys.
Also, I think we're past the point in our lives where we have to be worried about child molesters, to be honest.
It's pretty much a concern that rests inside of our youth. And I'm going to be honest, it was never something that, really cropped up in my day-to-day life, like a concern I had to be faced with on a daily basis was child molestation.
I always realized that it was a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you took precautions.
But it was kind of a possibility in the same way that, hey, I might get struck by lightning today is a possibility.
It's slightly more... It's slightly more of a risk, I suppose. I think people are...
In reality...
There's more people than there are lightning bolts, I guess, is the way you could look at it.
In reality, yes. But the way I thought of it as a child, I was like, it's probably not going to happen. I'm just going to go about my life.
Probably not. So, Dylan, even back then you had that mantra in your life. Probably not.
I might get...
I guess it's kind of the same as you go in the ocean and you I might get attacked by a shark. Probably not.
I could get kidnapped and molested by a stranger. Probably not.
I could get kidnapped by pirates, but, by Somalian pirates off the coast of Long Island, but,
There are much better...
Probably not.
There are much better-looking children on this playground. I think I'm all right.
That was the comfort that you and I took when we were children, was thank God we're so fucking ugly. We'll never get molested. That was our thought process.
Anyway, but I don't think we're...
Is this conversation offensive?
Probably. So
it probably is. Let's talk about Dragon Ball.
I think we're past the age, though, where that's even a consideration. So us being worried about getting...
Unless we go to prison. That's not necessarily child molestation.
No, that's not... What I'm saying is I don't think we have to worry about child molestation.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially me. I have a fucking beard. I mean, there's you with your non-hairy flesh. They might make an exception, but me personally, I think I'm...
they'll still look at me and go, wow, that was born and wasn't shot upon birth. Let's move on. Somebody hasn't beaten him into non-existence yet. Let's move on.
The day is coming.
Next time Dylan comes up, it'll happen. Dylan, what's going on with Dragon Ball Z?
Right. It was announced that after that fucking movie, Fukatsu no F, Resurrection F, that they are going to be doing a new Dragon Ball TV series titled, this is kind of stupid, Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, not the greatest title. Is it better than GT as a title?
Not really.
Is it worse than GT?
No, I don't think it's any better or worse than...
I think GT is slightly better because it's a little bit more vague as to what GT means. When you kind of find out what GT is supposed to stand for, it becomes really stupid.
Yeah, they never...
But just the title GT, I think is okay.
And I don't even know why they had to tell you what it means, because the thing is, Z didn't mean...
That song is pretty horrible.
Because here's the thing, Dragon Ball Z meant fucking nothing. But
it's so vague that it's it doesn't matter what it means, it just sounds cool.
It didn't sound... it didn't stand for anything, it was just Dragon Ball Z, it's... Yeah.
Exactly. It's like Mazinger Z. The Z doesn't stand for anything. It's just fucking cool.
I think Z is the Japanese equivalent to the way that Americans in the 90s used the, letter X.
It's possible.
It's extreme, and they're Z, and we're
Dragon Ball X wouldn't be a bad title.
Dragon Ball X, I would watch that, yeah.
Dragon Ball X, I'd watch that too. Anyway, regardless. This is probably my last show. No. So Dylan...
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they made an entire show out of Goku and Piccolo driving cars. I'd watch that,
Dragon Ball Grand Prix.
Oh shit, Dragon Ball GP. Welcome to the Grand Prix.
It's like that scene from Iron Man 2 where fucking Tony Stark is driving his car. Fucking Whiplash, it's fucking Cell slashes Goku's car with his tail.
Instead of using tentacles, he uses a Destructo Disc.
Yeah, exactly.
There's actually a scene in an episode of Z where one of the androids chops a car in half with a Destructo Disc, and it's pretty much exactly like that.
Like Iron Man 2.
Yeah. It actually more reminds me of the part in Gamera versus Gauss, where Gauss cuts the helicopter in half.
And people start jumping out for no reason because they think somehow that'll save them. Everybody, let's jump out of the helicopter. That'll save us.
Why it didn't explode is beyond me.
It does explode.
It does?
Yeah. After that, it explodes.
It should have exploded.
Like
it should have exploded immediately.
Not necessarily. If it didn't cut the fuselage, I guess it would. So yeah, it probably would have exploded instantaneously. But if it didn't hit the fuel, like for instance, take the car scene later on in the film, when Gauss magically shoots his supersonic ray at a motor vehicle, and it cuts the car clean in half, and somehow one half of the car is still able to drive, and all of the occupants are totally fine, and they have to go back to get the other guy, and they all drive in half of the car to escape from Gauss. Excuse me, I have hiccups now, which is great because we're doing a podcast.
Wonderful, yes.
And then Gauss was kind enough not to cut the engine in half when he cut the car in half, even though he was doing that to try and kill them. He's just a considerate kaiju that way. Anyway, Anyway, so Dylan, Dragon Ball Super.
I mean, that's pretty much it. We don't really...
Yeah, we don't know anything about the show itself, so there's not really much to say except for, God, that title could be a million times better. I'm assuming that it'll have a lot more to do with the Super Saiyan mythos if that's the title.
I'm assuming that we can't really...
And if so, oh wow, an entire Dragon Ball series about the Super Saiyan legend. Never seen that before.
I just hope they don't revert into the same old formula that they did before with Dragon Ball Z. I know they will. I'm just saying I hope they don't. Let's be positive.
Maybe if Toriyama is gonna... He's directly overseeing it, right? Like he did with the movies.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Battle of Gods was so good about, like, breaking from the normal formula.
Yeah.
Now
But by using the formula to break away from the formula, which was really cool.
Yeah, so now I kind of want... I want this from Resurrection F, and I want this from everything going forward. I want to see more, like, experimental shit like that going on in the universe, you know.
Just thought-provoking, or just thoughtful DBZ. It doesn't have to be, like, super... It doesn't have to be fucking Avengers Age of Ultron, where it's considering the meaning of humanity and the true nature of humans versus what our true potential is. It just has to be about the characters coming to life and having time to breathe and not just forcing everybody into a formula that we have to stick by and being all about the action scenes.
But to be 100% honest, it's going to. And I know it's going to.
I mean, almost certainly.
And I know it's going to because in the little promo, or the article that I read, it was like they were doing one of those terrible translations of a Japanese announcement, you know.
Yeah, and we've seen how great those have been with the news about Godzilla 2016.
Yeah, recently fans have been like, oh, Toho's fucking dissed in 2016. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. Anyway,
You mean 2014?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Which they kind of are, to be fair. I mean, they're not necessarily dissing it because it made them money, but they're more so just like, we're Toho Studios, Godzilla's our character. We're not just going to let Legendary be the only people who make Godzilla movies for the foreseeable future. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Pretty much what they've been saying. Well, they made a statement in which I'm pretty sure what they were trying to say was that they wanted to make a Godzilla movie that would stand like on equal footing with Hollywood.
Which it's not.
That
is not quality terms. That is not like this movie will be shit compared to 2014. We'll have to see about that. Just because it's a lower budget and because it's a Japanese produced Godzilla movie, not at all.
Yeah, indeed. But I'm just saying that's sort of their ambition and that's sort of what they were saying. But people twisted that to mean, oh, they're saying they're gonna fucking like own Hollywood, and I'm like, no, they're not fucking.
No, they're just simply saying that they want to make a movie that that stands on its own in comparison to 2014, and won't be just like, oh, that's 2014. 2014 is like the real Godzilla franchise. This is just some bullshit. And I'm like, no, if you want to be technical. Toho is the creators of Godzilla, so if anybody's got the real Godzilla franchise, unless it's shit, then we'll see. We'll see who the real Godzilla franchise belongs to. But let's not talk about that.
It could be shit.
It has every reason to be shit.
Toho has made...
To be fair, if you want to be technical, Toho has made more bad Godzilla movies than America has.
Yeah, eat that, America-hating fanboys.
And by that I mean America has made 2, one of them horrible, one of them better, and then Toho has made a lot, and a certain percentage of them are not very good.
Right.
So, Dragon Ball Super, what do you want it to be about?
Well, what I was trying to say was, in that little announcement that they were saying, again, you could tell it was one of these poorly translated translations of a Japanese announcement. But in the announcement, they announced that a foe more powerful than Majin Buu may appear. And I'm sitting here thinking, duh.
Right, it would have to be, because,
that's
Goku has fought gods now.
That's
literal gods.
That's kind of how the formula works.
So
technically, we've had lots of foes stronger than Majin Buu. There was everyone in GT.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because Goku was somewhat powered down because he was a kid. At the beginning of the series, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody that he had to go...
Because all those people he fought in space were not stronger than Majin Buu.
No, but I'm talking about your 3 main villains for that series.
So Baby,
Super,
the Dragons...
and Super 17 in the middle.
I always forget about Super 17, because his arc was like 4 episodes.
Yeah. But those...
And then is Omega... Would you consider Omega Shenron the overarching villain of the Shadow Dragon saga, or is it just all of the Shadow Dragons?
I'm pretty sure... Yeah, Omega Shenron's the big bad. Those are your...
He is the last enemy.
See, it's the formula. In DBZ, you have Frieza, Cell, Buu. In GT, you have Baby Vegeta, Super 17, and Omega Shenron.
Because there isn't an overarching villain of kind of the first story in space, which is probably the worst part of the whole show.
Dragon Ball doesn't adhere as much to the formula.
No, it's a completely different type of show, though.
But if you wanted to make a similar, 3 big bads chart for that, it would be Pilaf, the Red Ribbon Army, and King Piccolo.
And then Piccolo Jr. at the end.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Anyway, so you got all those...
Right.
we got to assume that Janemba, right? I mean, because that movie happened.
Yeah, I mean, Goku did have to fuse.
Yeah, so Janemba.
And they did fuse to fight Buu as well, but it was a different type of fusion, and that wasn't the end-all, be-all thing that destroyed Buu. That was mostly just really strange plot contrivances that ended up killing Buu.
Yeah, and then they're...
Mostly involving a really powerful spirit bomb.
And then their fusion
the use of 2 separate Dragon Balls.
Their fusion got defused. Anyway.
Even though it was supposed to be permanent.
Yeah.
What would they have done, spousally, if they had stayed fused? Would Vegito have to have a polygamous thing and be married to both Bulma and Chi-Chi?
Well, I mean...
And, they would have to share him?
I mean, if they could find another pair of Potara earrings, they could just be married to Bolchi, but,
Those don't exist, though. Aren't those, the only pair in the entire universe?
I don't know. Weren't all the Kais wearing them?
Oh, you're right.
All of the Supreme Kai?
Why didn't they all just merge into one being?
Well, there is that backstory in one of the filler episodes where they show Kid Buu killing all the different Supreme guys and
oh, that's right. I forgot about
absorbing the fat one to become Fat Buu.
Does Old Kai have the earrings?
Yeah.
The one who comes out of the sword?
I think he was wearing a pair.
Because Kibito Kai, or as he's just called, the Supreme Kai.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Is Kibito and Supreme Kai.
I'm looking at it.
But they just call him Supreme Kai, even though he is Kibito Kai.
I'm looking at a picture right now. He is wearing a pair of Potara earrings. So he could just give his pair to fucking Bulma and Chi-Chi, and then they would become...
Are we to assume that they must all already be merged then? if they're already wearing the earrings? Or is that at least potentially possible?
Well, you could assume that they have already merged with somebody in their past, but the way it works
Right.
is you have to take off one of your earrings and give it to somebody else, and that is when the fusion occurs.
Right.
Kibito
So,
was wearing his own pair when he first showed up at the tournament too, but they were a different color, which is interesting. So I don't know if they have the same function.
they probably do. It's probably just aesthetics. It's like, what color would you like your earrings to be, Kibito? I want them red. Because that was how he talked. He talked very roughly. I want 'em red. Oh, why would you like them red, Kibito? Because I'm red. I want everything to be red. Fair enough.
I don't know if
your logic is sound.
I don't know if Harudagorn would be more powerful than Boo.
No. Because Goku could destroy him with the Super Saiyan 3.
Right.
Did we see Harudagorn in his full form? Yeah, right? Like, that bug form was the final form.
Yeah. His first weaker form was the fucking Skeletor, and then he...
Well, technically it was the separate halves.
Yeah, and then they merged into his Skeletor form, and then they had like a Mothra transformation and turned into a giant golden cell. I mean, Harudagorn.
Exactly. Did they have to use the sword in any sense? Or the flute thingy? Like, how exactly did the final battle go down? I forget.
Basically,
Or was it just Goku using the Super Dragon Fist?
Yeah, basically it all kind of got Deus Ex Machina because Goku comes in and he says, "If I don't, who will?" In other words, fuck all you other characters. I'm the only one who can do this. And
yeah, that's why I really don't like the ending. I really enjoy that movie, but the ending is absolutely atrocious for that reason. Because it's not Goku's story. If anybody, it really should have been Trunks who should have killed Harudagorn.
Right. I think
Trunks or Gohan, if it had to be an older character with more power. But it really should have been Trunks because it was his story.
Right. I think it should have been Trunks as well.
I know that he's, a kid, but even if it was like, what was the character's name who was his mentor?
Talking about Tapion?
Yeah, Tapion. Tapion and Trunks combined forces to kill Harudagorn.
Yeah.
Because Tapion didn't die, did he? No.
No, that would have been more satisfying from a story perspective.
Yeah, Tapion probably should have died.
At the end, Tapion gives Trunks his sword and is like, "So long."
And then Trunks...
And
then in kind of like an Old English kind of story, maybe Trunks slays the dragon, so to speak, with the sword. The young man becomes a hero. That would have been nice.
Which is really confusing.
Especially given who Trunks is supposed to grow up to become.
Which is really confusing because it raises the question of how future Trunks got his sword in that timeline.
Exactly, because it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Obviously, the Harudagorn shit must have happened, but how it went down is beyond me because
Goku should have been dead.
Gohan would have been the only Z fighter still around. The androids,
and he would have been weaker too, because we know that in the future he only had the Super Saiyan 1 form when he got to the future and before he died.
The androids would have been around, but they couldn't have killed Harudagorn.
They must have, though. Yeah, maybe Tapion died, gave Trunks the sword, and then the androids destroyed the Harudagorn.
But if it takes Goku at Super Saiyan 3...
Because here's the problem.
Using the fucking Dragon Fist, Super Dragon Fist, to kill Harudagorn, then the combined power of the androids, especially since 16 wasn't in the picture in that timeline, none of the other androids are around, Cell's in hiding somewhere, being creepy. There's no way that the two of them would have been enough to take down Harudagorn.
But here's why it must have been that. Because the only other possibility...
After Thor threw all of those Z fighters in the movie.
But the problem is, so did the androids, and none of the Z fighters who were still alive could take down the androids. So, if they take down Harudagorn, who is definitely more powerful than the androids...
But those androids killed a version of the Z fighters that hadn't even, fought Cell yet, okay? But the version of the Z fighters that Harudagorn beat, that's the post-Boo era,
Debatably.
So...
No, I guess it was post-Boo, almost certainly.
Yeah, it's post-Boo.
Is Boo in it? The good Boo? Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But Goku's alive, and Gohan and Videl are going around being great Saiyamen, so it's gotta be...
I find it a little bit strange how she's great Saiyaman too, but she's, not hiding her femininity at all. She's wearing a big heart on her helmet.
Right, she doesn't bother to call herself.
And they're also in a relationship. But they're also in a relationship in in Fusion Reborn.
Yeah.
And that relationship wasn't established until the Boo saga was over, right?
Yeah, it's
like they didn't get together until Boo was defeated.
It's weird in a sense if you try to think of them as like American superheroes, because if this was an American series, she would have called herself Great Saiya Woman. But it's more rooted in like Sentai traditions. So like it's Saiya Man 1 and Saiya Man 2, the same way that like a group of Power Rangers could have numbers and they would all be like 1, 2, 3, 4, even though some of them are of different genders.
Yeah, but numbers are not gender specific. Numbers are numbers.
Right.
Okay, I whatever. Okay, so I guess it's like, alright, here's my comparison point, and this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Iron Man. So, Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Right. If he got a sex change, he would be Iron Woman.
And Pepper, Pepper...
Or would he be the Iron Maiden?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, she would be the Iron Maiden, but she's not. She's a rescue. She's Iron Man Rescue.
Yeah, it's fucking...
Although in that, it's a little bit different because she does become a superhero and she becomes a rescue. It's a little bit different, though, because Iron Man is a brand name.
Right.
So maybe it's the same thing because they're using Capsule Corp technology. So maybe they use it as a brand name. Who knows? Who cares? Anyway, Dragon Ball Super, what's it going to be about? Here's what I think. Let me. What do you think of this? Wouldn't it be cool if they went super cosmic with it? Especially following Battle of Gods and whatever Resurrection F is about. Since we know that...
it's too bad that it's...
Beerus and shit, what's his henchman's name again?
Whis, and he's not a henchman.
Whis, Beerus and Whis. They're master and apprentice, excuse me.
He's more of an... yeah, he's actually Beerus' apprentice. I mean, he's actually Beerus' master.
Exactly.
Beerus is the apprentice.
Yeah.
But they're
gonna be in so they're probably gonna become recurring characters.
Yeah, they probably are.
Which means they'll probably be in the show, which is awesome because I love them.
Yeah, I fucking love them too. I can't fucking wait to see them again in Fukatsu no F.
And it'll also be interesting to see like Beerus have an enemy who is stronger than him, like officially, because he's gonna have to be.
I hope we get to meet other gods. Like Beerus can't be the only god roaming around out there. Like.
Well, if we do,
like,
if we don't, Kai, I want that to be what Super is about.
Because King Kai specifically has that line in Battle of Gods where he tells Goku that the reason he can't feel his energy is because you can't feel the energy of divine beings. Beings, plural, meaning that there have to be others.
Well, we know there are anyway because there are other gods in the show.
Yeah.
We've seen deities before this. Everything in Otherworld, there's a lot of deities that kind of populate that world, but there are other cosmic deities, certainly.
Yeah, it's weird to live in the post-Battle of Gods era, because during DBZ, before Battle of Gods, you kind of have to assume that the Kais are like the gods of this universe, but not really. There's actually something...
No, they're fairly low beings because King Kai is afraid of Beerus. Now, the question is Supreme Kai afraid of him? Because I don't remember how Supreme Kai reacts. I know he's a little bit scared, but isn't that more so like Goku's an idiot because he's trying to fight him?
No,
they care about the Earth.
There's a scene where him and Old Kai are sitting there on the planet, and they're like, "Oh dear, he's waking up again," and they're very clearly, their jimmies are rustled.
But are they scared that Beerus could kill them?
I don't think.
Or are they just scared that planets that we care about are going to be destroyed?
I don't think Beerus would destroy them because they're in the other world, and I don't think Beerus goes there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but so is fucking King Kai.
Right. No, but I mean...
And King Kai is scared shitless of Beerus.
I don't think Beerus would destroy one of, these places that are essential for the cosmic order to proceed, such as the Supreme Kai's world or HFIL or any of those sorts of places. We learned that he blew up King Kai's planet, but, how important is King Kai?
Wait, when did he blow up King Kai's planet? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's how it got smaller.
Yeah, that's explained in the backstory, that Beerus blew it up at some point, and then King Kai reformed it, only smaller. And then Cell blew it up later, but then fucking King Kai...
And he maintained the size.
Brought it back again, and fucking...
Right. But yeah, I'd like to see them be regular. So I think that would be cool, though, if the show, at least maybe... So if you have it be more cosmic... Then you could have Goku, because obviously we've seen the Z Fighters in space. That's what the Frieza saga is entirely about.
Yeah.
GT got a little bit cosmic, and Boo got a little bit cosmic as well with the Supreme Kais and everything. And a couple of the movies got a little bit more cosmic with Fusion Reborn. But I'd like to see it go absolutely crazy.
It's too bad that this show is going to have to be post-Boo, but pre-Oob. Like, it's going to have to be in that, like, window.
If they even are going to bother. Well, yeah, but the thing is, like,
because
that stuff must still be canon because that was still Toriyama.
Yeah, that was still under,
when they did
under
that.
DBZ. It's just the stuff that happens after that.
So I guess it'll be like building up. I mean, not that there's much continuity that they have to worry about maintaining. All they basically have to worry about is, at some point, Gohan and Videl have to give birth to Pan. But whatever, she's pregnant. Hang on, does that make sense? She is pregnant with Videl. I mean, with Pan. That would be weird if she was pregnant with herself. That's some metaphysical shit right there.
She created herself. She is a god.
She gives birth to herself. That'd be like fucking Angel Season 4, where a demon possesses Cordelia.
Which would mean that Gohan had impregnated her with her.
Well, hang on. Well, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
And then she gives birth to herself, and then she grows up, and then she marries Gohan and gets fucked by Gohan, and then gives birth to herself again.
So Angel's kid, Connor, fucks Cordelia, who is Angel's would-be girlfriend, and she gets pregnant, but she's actually not Cordelia. She got back from this higher plane of reality where she was possessed by a demon, or just a vague deity of some kind. They don't really specify if it's necessarily a demon, some kind of deity. And the deity kind of forces the events that lead to Cordelia sleeping with Connor. And the deity takes a tighter hold of Cordelia's mind and gets pregnant with herself, and then gives birth to herself, so that way she can take over the world.
Right.
And then Cordelia goes into a coma.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people don't like Season 4 of Angel, including myself, because all of that was really dumb. And really convoluted and not very entertaining to watch, especially the last couple episodes. All the stuff with Angelus, that was nice, if not a little bit drawn out, but all the stuff with Jasmine was fucking stupid. And that was for you Angel fans who are listening, of which there are none of you. Let's go back to Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the whole let's go cosmic thing?
I think that's a great direction. What I was saying before is I'm just sad that it's got to be like post-Boo but pre-Oob, because I've always wanted to see Goku like training Oob. Like we get a little bit of that at the beginning of GT, but it's
and it's fucking stupid because it lasts for like 2 seconds.
It's stupid and poorly handled. I want to see fucking Goku and Oob, like out in the fucking desert. He's like teaching him fucking Kaioken and shit.
Would you be okay if they did a little bit of time skip in this, and if we cut to post Oob?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
I would be okay with that as long as the status quo that is comes about because of these movies is still kind of played with. So if we still went cosmic because that's what these movies did.
Right.
Wouldn't it be cool if they did different dimensions, like they tease in Battle of Gods? If they visit the 12 universes that exist?
Yeah, I would love to see that. I'm kind of interested to know...
And they did it...
I'm kind of interested to know whether or not these two mysterious villains in Resurrection F might actually be from one of these alternate universes.
The ones that bring back Frieza?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a fan manga online that's done in the style of the original Dragon Ball Z mangas that kind of explores, like, alright, Dragon Ball Z, different dimensions, what are some of the stuff we could do? So there's one where, like, where Planet Vegeta isn't destroyed, and Vegeta becomes the prince, and Kakarot goes to Earth and destroys it, but he dies somehow, I forget, and Vegeta, like, he becomes, like, some crazy... He basically becomes Broly, I think, in that universe. And then Vegeta helps, like, Goten and Trunks, who visit this universe, to help fight Goku. It's something like that. Somebody listening is probably like, that's not it at all, and is going to angrily leave me comments like, you're fucking stupid and you should feel bad.
It's kind of an interesting idea, though. Like...
Where Goku becomes the legendary Super Saiyan?
Yeah, like, after Broly's dead, if somebody else, like, inherited, like, those powers.
Well, somebody else would have to be... What if it was Pan?
What if they fucking had Pan and she was a fucking psycho?
We never see her go Super Saiyan. So what if, like, the first female Super Saiyan is a fucking psycho? I mean, that might be a little bit sexist, but, it's Japan, so they could kind of get away with it.
She fucking comes out of the womb and she's like, Kakarot! And we're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Kakarot! Does that get irritating after a while? I think that got irritating after a while. Especially in Broly's Second Coming, that kind of got irritating. where he was just constantly screaming for Kakarot. There was that one funny moment where Goten was like, "What's a Kakarot? Carrots? I hate carrots." But the first movie was fun, especially that moment where like Goku was like, why do you hate me so much? Was Broly slightly older than Goku, and that's why he remembered his name?
No, because there's that flashback, and they're both babies. In fact,
But how does Broly know that his name is Kakarot?
In fact, isn't there a line in the movie where fucking Paragus says that they were born on the same day or something?
So why does Broly know his name?
Because I guess he heard the nurses in the place say.
But he's like a day old. How does he have any? Do babies on Planet Vegeta have like super amazing memories? But if that's true, wouldn't Goku know he was an alien?
No, because he hit his head after he came to Earth.
Oh, that's okay. Fair enough.
That's why he wound up being a good person and not like a psychopath. That's an alternate universe I've always wanted to see. A Goku who doesn't hit his head and then like.
Well, that's been done.
Destroys the Earth and shit.
Yeah, that's been done in that manga. I wonder if it would be cool if we saw Goku's programming get reversed on purpose, where like a villain like fucks around with his head and actually reverses the programming and turns it back into that psychopath. That would kind of be like an Angel thing, where it's like somebody takes Angel's soul away and turns it back into Angelus. If you had that with Goku, where he turns back into Kakarot,
that would be kind of cool. That would be
really cool if he becomes the villain and Vegeta has to stop him. Because, or maybe the whole thing is
I had
like,
a similar idea when I was a child, only doing it with fucking Oob, and having the fucking. You remember the?
Yeah, that would be. Oh, maybe when Goku goes Super Saiyan 4.
Because you remember the evil Boo, the brown one that ate Fat Boo to become Kid Boo.
Yeah. Yes.
I always had this idea in my head.
You mean Super Boo?
Yeah. I mean Super Boo. I always had this idea in my head of that fucking like brown anorexic evil Boo like reappearing in like Oob's mind and being kind of like a Devil Hulk character.
Where Oob I thought you meant like Goku goes evil and Oob has to stop him.
Oh no, that would also be interesting.
Because that would be interesting.
These are all great ideas. Toriyama, take notes.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, because in GT, and again, we mentioned before, GT is not entirely garbage. There are some really good ideas in it, and the Baby Saga in itself is not terrible. And I think the last like 5 episodes are pretty good. Overall, it's taken as their own pieces out the crap around it.
It would have been cool.
Except for Vegeta going Super Saiyan 4, that is just unbearable.
You know what would have been cool is while Baby was possessing Vegeta's body, if we could have like had some things of like Vegeta as like a prisoner inside of his own mind.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Vegeta fight back a little more. I mean, obviously they explain like, oh, he couldn't, but it would have been nice to get some like Vegeta in his own head, like having to confront Baby, because Baby's whole thing is like, you killed the Tuffles. Fuck
Imagine
you.
a scene kind of like that episode of Dino Thunder where Tommy Oliver has to fight all his previous Ranger incarnations, where Vegeta has to fight like his self when he was evil, originally the Scouter form, as it's always called in the
with the fucked up colors.
With fucked up colors, and then the Majin.
He's got like brain damage. That's what explains why he sees those colors.
And then he has to fight the Majin Vegeta, and then he has to fight fucking Baby Vegeta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Him fighting the No, he fights that Vegeta. Then he fights like the Namek era Vegeta who was trying to become a Super Saiyan. And then he fights Majin Vegeta, who's kind of like the most powerful modern Vegeta.
The most powerful modern evil.
Who was evil. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they're going to do quote-unquote a Super Saiyan 4 in this new series, though, because
they are doing one, and they're doing the 5, too.
But we've got this whole new God thing. And we...
Yeah, but Goku can't do that. He's gained that power now permanently, but he can't transform into it.
Right.
It's just something that he has now.
But there's some kind of a new transformation in the Resurrection F movie, and I'm not sure exactly what the particulars are of it, but
Oh, the blue Super Saiyan?
Yeah, the hair goes...
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering what the fuck that was.
And I keep seeing it referred to as God form, so I'm like, is it a different kind of God form? Does it not...
I hope so, because it looks way better than the other one.
Does it not have all the, like, crazy stipulations that the other God form had? Can he just, like...
It must not, because the whole purpose of the ending is like, well, now you're not as powerful, but you are more powerful.
Is it like what happens when somebody who's already in God form does a power boost, kind of like Super Saiyan? Like, you know how when you go from regular Goku to Super Saiyan Goku, your hair goes from black to yellow. What if it's like a similar transformation where your hair goes from the red God hair to like the blue fucking spiked up God hair?
I just don't need them to go crazy with the Super Saiyan. I don't want to see like a Super Saiyan 7. I think like if you're gonna do it, just do different transformations.
Yeah.
Or just do new permeations on like. Just stop doing the whole craziness with the transformations. You know, because it's like that was the whole obsession of Dragon Ball Z was transformations. Every single villain's obsession was with transformations. Even to a certain extent in the Saiyan saga where Vegeta was trying to become a Super Saiyan. I know that wasn't the focal point, but even still. And then, you know, Frieza was going through transformations, and Cell was going through transformations, and Boo was going through transformations. So,
See, look at this.
I'd kind of like to see them get away from that a bit. And I think the whole cosmic thing will help them do that. It's all about venturing out there for some reason, and meeting all these different cosmic beings with different power sets, and Goku then has to acclimate to those different power sets, and then you have different forms of Goku that aren't Super Saiyan permutations.
See, look at this sweet ass Goku figure from the new movie. It's very clearly a different form than the God form that we had in the previous movie, but they're still calling it fucking God Super Saiyan Son Goku. Fucking.
Well, I'm assuming that it's maybe what it is now because we didn't see him go Super Saiyan after that, right?
Right.
Maybe the Super Saiyan transformation is now different.
Maybe. Oh no! Wait.
Super Saiyan, the hair is blue.
Wait, I forgot.
Oh no, he does go Super Saiyan at the end, doesn't he?
Well, during the fight, he drops out of God mode, and then he's fighting Beerus as a regular Super Saiyan for a while.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
God, there's also this like sweet fucking gold Frieza figure. Jesus.
Yeah, that is pretty badass. You have to have Andres buy you that one at the next Comic-Con, and then I won't give him the money for it.
It would take fucking $80 to buy both of these. I don't have $80 lying around.
No, I don't think much of anybody does these days. Bad economy. Not in this economy.
But I want to have them, and I want to pose them on my shelf.
Like a fucking nerd. Like a fucking loser. Says the guy with 3 Godzillas of different sizes standing next to each other on his desk. Next to 2 sonic screwdrivers, a weeping angel, and a Spawn figure.
I'm not denying that if I do that, I'm not getting much pussy afterwards, but I'm just saying.
That'll be the thing that kills your chances.
I'm just saying.
You bring a woman back to your room, they're like, no, I'm not having that. So honestly, there's not much more to say about Dragon Ball Super, is there?
No.
Because we just don't know anything about it. I hope it's good. That's something I hope.
I hope it's good. I'm sure it'll be better than GT because Toriyama is involved.
Yeah, I mean, not like he's never done anything bad. You know,
yeah.
Yo Son Goku and his friends return.
Well, I mean, and you know, there are points in the Majin Buu saga where you're like, can we just?
Yeah, overall, the Majin Buu saga is pretty okay at best.
Can we just not?
Everything up to Buu's actual appearance is pretty strong. Like all the stuff where Goku is fighting Majin Vegeta is awesome.
Yeah.
Everything after that is like, well, we're not really sure how we're going to kill Buu yet, so we'll just have them try a whole bunch of crap that won't really do anything for them.
Yeah, I can very much picture
Potara earrings, you know, fucking going inside of Boo's body.
You know, when Akira Toriyama was writing those manga chapters for fucking Shonen Jump month to month, he was like, alright, how am I going to stall until I come up with a way to kill this thing? And I'm like...
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, why couldn't you just kept him dead? Why do you have to turn into Kid Buu? You keep making it worse for yourself, Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, you keep writing yourself into a worse and worse corner. You're like fucking Russell T. Davies when he was writing Doctor Who. Just take a step back and stop making it harder for yourself to get the fuck out of this.
After they cut all the other people that he's absorbed out of his brain, he should just turn back into the fucking Grey Buu. Wouldn't that make more sense? And then...
He does, though. He turns back into Super Buu.
No, but I mean, he should have turned back into the fucking skinny, fucking gray...
Oh, right.
That fucking ate Majin Buu.
Well, isn't the whole explanation then that he goes back to his original form, though?
Yeah, but why would he do that, is my question.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't have the answers for you, though.
The other thing is, in that episode where they give the backstory of how Kid Buu became Fat Buu in the first place, there was an intermediate stage where he absorbed like this big buff Kai, and then he turned into like this like huge hulking like Broly looking fucking Buu. And
right, yeah, I remember that.
And during Super Buu's transformation back into Kid Buu, he actually goes through that stage in the middle there. He turns into this big fucking hulking monster before he shrinks back down. But when they were up there in his brain cutting out the people who he had absorbed, that fucking beefy Kai was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Again, I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't.
It just raises too many questions.
It does. It truly does, I feel. So, Dragon Ball Super. Maybe good?
Bring back Oolong and the panties.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need to save this show. We need Oolong and the panties. That's what we need to save it. That's what will make this show amazing. Not like cosmic exploration, new Super Saiyan transformations, quality writing. It's Oolong wanting panties.
Right. That's all I want out of life. Is it?
That's all that I need to survive in this world. Is just Oolong going, wouldn't it be great if I had some panties right now?
I love Oolong. He's probably the only.
Not like he could just go to the store and like buy like a package of panties and just like go to town. No, he's got to like fight for them. It's got to be a journey.
I love you, Oolong. You're probably the only pig I wouldn't eat. I'm lying.
You would eat like Babe,
Yeah, sure.
but Babe is like an intelligent pig and voiced by Chucky Finster from Rugrats.
All right, he's a really good pig, which is why he will make really good bacon. I don't really give a shit.
You would eat the fucking Wilbur from Charlotte's Web? Yeah, I'd probably eat him too.
I'd fucking eat all those pigs. I would not eat Oolong unless the world had run out of other pigs.
What about Rocksteady? No. Which one was the Warthog? Bebop or Rocksteady?
I don't remember which one it was. Whichever one it was, if I could kill them, sure, why not?
That meat would be nasty. It's filled with mutagen. You would get like
I would
4 arms and 10 dicks on your face.
I would turn into fucking Super Shredder from TMNT2, and then
That's not guaranteed. You might turn into Slash from Turtles Forever, which was something that Hun was not necessarily happy about.
no, but it was kind of badass.
I mean, he was still kind of like, oh, god damn it, I hate these turtles. He was kind of a turtle racist in that way. He was just angry because he looked like a turtle.
Yeah, I mean, there are worse things you could turn into. Anyway.
I mean, just ask Gamera. Anyway, so...
But that's not so much a pig as it is a warthog either. I'm not talking about warthogs.
That's what I said. That's what I said, though. You can eat a warthog. Why not?
I mean, I've never tried boar, so I don't know.
There's a lot of them lying around. You could probably...
I want to try boar.
There's like a superfluous amount of boars out there that you should probably go out and kill.
I'm going to go out in the woods with nothing but a Bowie knife and get me a boar.
They really have no fear of man whatsoever. The only problem is, like, they really have no reason to because they're fucking hardcore and they could kill you with their tusks.
Right. Okay, I'll take a gun.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need a gun. And you could probably take out like 5 and the population wouldn't be affected at all because they fuck like Catholic rabbits.
Most people would...
And I stole that joke from Avengers Age of Ultron, so sue me, Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
I love you, by the way.
People would be like, fucking... I think one shotgun would be enough to kill the boar, but I've got like a fucking semi-automatic machine gun. I'm like, nah, I'm making damn sure.
Take out like 20 of them at once.
I'm making damn sure that I killed.
I'm making one of them pizzas from Pizza Hut with the bacon crust. I'm going to open up a whole new Pizza Hut, and this will be my stock.
I'm going to go into the forest with a Gatling gun and be like the black dude from Predator.
Yes. You're like Mac from Predator, just mow down the woods. What a waste of ammunition that was. They all just empty their clips onto the woods and like, did we get him? We didn't get him.
I wind up not killing a single boar, but I do injure him, and then he spends the rest of the evening hunting me and trying to kill me.
You put mud on your body and you like try and like set a trap for him.
Because apparently...
And then you get down in a pit and you're like, kill me now, I'm here! And you start talking with an Austrian accent for no real reason whatsoever.
Because apparently boars have infrared vision.
They do. It's a widely known scientific fact that boars see in infrared. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dylan. It's a scientific fact.
It's also very well known that they like to offer children candy.
It's very true. They're like Jean Baptiste. They're just driving around offering kids rides to McDonald's.
I'm just saying, Timon and Pumbaa are great, but keep that pig away from your kids. You know.
That's the takeaway message from this week's episode: is keep that pig away from your kids.
Kind
of rhymes too. Keep that pig away from your kids.
I'll be asking them if they're aching for some bacon.
Timon is asking them that, and Pumbaa's just sitting on a platter like splayed. Are you aching for some bacon, kids?
So, Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much wrapped up on it. You want to move on to the next thing? The thing that may or may not be true, probably not true thing?
What the fuck was that again?
the concept art.
Oh, yeah.
So Dylan, introduce this, because just like the other two topics, I did not come up with the idea to talk about this.
So today,
No, this happened last night, didn't it?
well, I didn't see it till today.
Fair enough.
I woke up today. It was probably like 1 o'clock.
It's probably 3:30 and, nighttime.
Having already woken up once.
I was aching for some bacon.
Having already woken up once at 10 and then going nah and going back to sleep, I woke up. I go to the internet and I discover.
As I do every time I wake up.
Indeed, I directly to the internet.
You pass your loved ones and family, and they're like, "Hey, morning, son. Fuck you. I'm going to the internet, bitch."
Yeah, pretty much. So
every morning he says these horrible things to me.
I get on the internet.
Right.
And I see on Facebook there's this fucking article people are sharing about this potential potential concept art for the Power Rangers movie.
The did they get set back to 2017?
Now the article said that it had concept images of both the Pterodactyl Zord and the T-Rex Zord.
And if so, that is a vague-ass T-Rex Zord, because I did not see a T-Rex.
No, that looks nothing like it.
I saw the vague shape of, maybe a sideways V.
That's pretty much where I come down. That T-Rex one is pretty bad, I think. But I did love that pterodactyl.
Did you really?
Yeah.
They're strictly okay. It reminds me of a modern-day gritty update on the movie Power Rangers Zords, where it's the Crane and Falcon Zords were basically just planes. And I mean, they were pretty much just CG versions of the Ninja Zords, but they made them a little bit more modern-day kind of Air Force-like in the movie. And they've taken that to an extreme with this concept art. They're really kind of generic, if you ask me. They're clearly taking a lot of inspiration from the Iron Man movies at Pacific Rim.
Here's the
in terms of the concept. Yeah, thanks. You can find these images in the description as well.
I especially love that they have the Pink Ranger entering the Pterodactyl Zord through the mouth, rather than jumping through that invisible trap door that is on the Zord's heads in the Sentai.
Yeah, that is certainly more realistic.
It's more practical, which I think is what they're ultimate.
But the Pterodactyl Zord looks nothing like a pterodactyl.
It does look at the head.
It's the vague... It looks like an F-16.
With a pterodactyl head on it, yeah.
I don't like that. They're supposed to be ancient... They're supposed to be ancient fucking weapons of war from a mystical wizard who's from an intergalactic planet fighting an intergalactic war of good and evil. I want traditional dinosaurs that look like dinosaurs.
Well, they're not going to look like that because it's a fucking movie.
I would know. What about the fucking Dinobots? Even if they looked as shitty as the Dinobots do in Age of Extinction, that'd be better than this.
And the Pteranodon would have 2 heads and fucking...
Yeah, exactly. 2 heads.
They don't...
It wouldn't be like the Predacons from Transformers R.I.D. Just have to look like a fucking Pteranodon.
It does look like a fucking pterodactyl. Like a
yeah, vague. It looks about as much as a pterodactyl as F-16s look like a shark because they have the shark mouth on the front of them.
It looks a million times better than that T-Rex.
Yes, okay, fair enough. We can agree on that because, oh my god, that T-Rex looks like shit.
Which Andres theorized that was some sort of vehicle mode that can then become the actual T-Rex mode.
I'm not sold on that. I don't know. I can see how they were maybe trying to make the head look like a T. Look at that. Look at the front of it.
Yeah.
It looks like they were vaguely trying to make that look like a T-Rex head. Does this make you concerned that they might be taking themselves too seriously? Because that is the problem that people have been concerned about with this new Power Rangers movie, is that it might take itself too seriously and kind of miss the spirit of the original and the spirit of kind of Sentai shows in general, where it's they can have serious elements, but overall they are high fantasy.
I mean, to be honest, if they do take themselves seriously, it'll be entertaining, just in a different way.
That's certainly. I mean, it'll be it's like fucking Power Rangers Man of Steel style, where it's they will tumble, they will fall, Rangers. But someday they will join you in the light, and fucking the Power Rangers snap Lord Zed's neck.
Zordon, what were we supposed to do? Let Angel Grove die? Maybe.
Yeah. Let Bulk and Skull die? Yeah, they're assholes. Let them die. Especially if you watch the Power/Rangers fan film. Then you should definitely let them die, because they're horrible human beings.
Kevin Costner is Zordon.
That wouldn't be a terrible casting choice. No, it would be a terrible casting choice.
Here's the one thing I think you need to make that Pteranodon design near perfect.
Eyes, a mouth.
No, I'm all...
That isn't just a doorway.
I'm all right with them having, a cockpit look.
Well, no, they have cockpits in the original, too.
Yeah, I'm not so bothered by the lack of eyes.
No, but I mean eyes in addition to the cockpit.
What I'm worried about is, or what I think you should change to make it more acceptable, is that the wings should be more bird-like instead of just being like plain wings.
No, I'm not bothered by that.
Really,
They
your problem with it comes from the head, because that's not my problem with it. My problem with it is that
it looks, the more I look at the image of it actually flying, it looks okay. I'm just more bothered by it just doesn't look like a dinosaur to me. Or I know they're not actually dinosaurs, they're actually reptiles, but it doesn't look like an animal. It looks like a plane.
Yeah, Bill, it's a pterosaur.
It's pink.
It's a pterosaur, you charlatan.
It's vaguely shaped like something vaguely dinosaurian. It doesn't look like it's trying to capture that spirit. Now this makes me think maybe these Zords are designed by the Rangers themselves.
The other thing to remember is that this is just concept art. It might look...
Yeah, and also maybe not real.
And maybe not real. We don't even...
Probably not real.
We're not even...
We're probably getting angry over nothing.
We're not even sure if these are legit. However, there is evidence for it being legit, because other than this article, these images have been being taken down all over the place.
Oh, okay. Well, but they also did that for that Power Rangers Origins short that they had, and that's not going to go anywhere. That's just a thing that got produced for a might-be animated series that never got made. So,
it's true.
But Saban still took... I mean, I guess it was because it's something that was official that will never happen, because Saban has this weird thing where they're like, we don't want our brand getting messed up by things that aren't actually connected to it, but people think are connected to it. They're kind of like DC in that way, where it's like, this is the Power Rangers that we want people to know.
Right.
So everything else is not allowed. So it's like that's what happened with the Power/Rangers thing.
But aside from the fact that we don't even know if this is actually what they're going to look like, this is just concept art. They could look nothing like this. Mm-hmm. I mean, take a look through Art of Destruction.
I'm not any less excited for the movie because of how crappy these designs look. I'm just saying that if this is the direction they're taking this franchise in, or this is the direction they're taking the film in, I'm a little bit concerned.
To me, it just feels like, at least from the technological standpoint, because that's all we can see here, that they are going a bit more serious or realistic.
Which is not necessarily what I want. Big budget Power Rangers that has a quality story does not necessarily mean takes itself seriously.
But we don't know how this reflects the actual tone of the movie, though.
No, it doesn't. You're absolutely right.
It could very well still be what I pitched once before of doing Power Rangers with an Avengers-type tone. Because in Avengers, very high-tech shit going on, and then you got all this, tongue-in-cheek shit all over the place.
Yeah, and they did scale back a lot of it. I'm not saying they can't scale things back. Obviously, they should if they're going to try and do more of an Avengers-type tone. Mm-hmm. I would almost think a Guardians tone would be better for Power Rangers.
Maybe. Guardians, I hadn't seen Guardians when I made that suggestion, but yeah, maybe.
I think Guardians is probably a better tone than Avengers. Not to say that Avengers takes itself too seriously, but if you watch Age of Ultron, it certainly takes itself more seriously than the first one.
We fucking get the first Power Rangers movie, it does well, and then we get a fucking sequel, Power Rangers, Age of the Machine Empire. Nah.
Age of Mondo. I've got no strings to hold me down. Fucking Zordon builds King... No, Billy builds King Mondo.
Rita, get off my moon. He's played by...
Wouldn't that be kind of badass if...
He's played by
fucking Billy...
He's played by Harrison Ford. He's like...
Who is King Mondo?
He's like, get off my moon.
Yeah, Matt, they give him that clunky old costume. He fucking collapses instantly.
Rita's like, this is our moon. Get off my moon.
He's rolling on the floor trying to get up.
Go to the camper of evil.
Camper of Evil. They need to put that in the serious Power Rangers movie. Put the camper of evil in it, but it's like a space camper.
Yeah.
It's got like hover wheels. It looks like the fucking car from the beginning of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It looks like a car.
Coulson's flying
It
car.
looks like a jet, but with a camper for a head. No.
Would you watch a web series that was a spin-off series that took place during season 2 of Power Rangers Zeo, where it was just about the camper of evil and their exploits? Because I would watch that in a heartbeat.
I would definitely watch that.
But they didn't change it at all. It was the same actors, the same special effects. Nothing was different. It was just about them. And the Power Rangers were entirely in the background.
They were just in the
And
camper
it
of
was just about
evil.
Lord Zed trying to take over the world from a camper. That would be amazing.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, if you will. LOL. If they're going for, obviously the whole point of this is like vehicle mode. That's what we're going for. They're trying to make them look more like vehicles. So obviously with the Tyrannosaurus, they're going for more of a tank mode. Which, to be fair, the original T-Rex Zord had a tank mode.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the tank mode and not the actual T-Rex.
Could be. It could very well be.
And maybe it transforms into more of a Grimlock-looking T-Rex Zord, which, if so, that's awesome. I just think that they're trying to make them look a little bit too technological and not enough of the kind of fantasy, the kind of high fantasy of it. I don't want this movie to be too... I think this movie needs to be more like Star Wars and not so much like Star Trek, if that makes any sense. Like, Star Trek is more hardcore science fiction, where Star Wars is more fantasy. So, I think they need to lean a little bit more towards like Star Wars than Star Trek, where it's more...
But even so, Star Wars very fantasy-based, but also very high-tech.
Yes, but it's not so much science fiction as it is
except when the Empire was running things.
Yeah, exactly. It's more low-tech.
Then apparently the budget went out the window. I'm always reminded of that line from Planet of the Apes, where Zero goes, "That's the paradox. The older civilization is the more advanced."
Exactly. Well, that's just because it was a younger... The apes didn't have as much time to evolve as humans did. Like, we had, what, like, I don't know, like fucking... We had, like, a little over a couple thousand years.
I mean, we were hunting mammoths, and now we're here. So, yeah, we've been doing it for a while.
They had what, 2,000 years to get to guns? Like, that's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. And, like, pretty advanced science for pretty much, like, cave civilization. They had pretty sophisticated surgical tools. Like, they knew about brain surgery and shit, so...
Yeah.
They're not barbarians, they're just kind of... I mean, their culture's a little bit different. So that's kind of my concern, is that they're going to take them... Not only take themselves seriously, but just, like, the art style will not match Power Rangers. It'd be more something like Pacific Rim. Because, like this is totally fine for, like, a Godzilla or a Pacific Rim, where it's more of a grounded reality about people developing this technology. You got to remember, this comes from an alien race that has, like, this high... Like almost a magical level of technology. So
it almost makes
maybe they're not going to do that in this movie.
Yeah, it also makes you wonder how closely they're sticking to the story of the original. Which, it's weird, in most franchises like this, I would be like a purist and be like, don't fuck.
No, but not with Power Rangers.
Yeah, not with Power Rangers, because
I'm like, keep the spirit of it intact. And I'd still like the basic premise.
You can't really be that way with Power Rangers if you tried, because it's already taking a previous show and fucking up the story. So
exactly. Well, it's like, obviously, what they're gonna do is what the original series creators couldn't do, is use the basic kind of look of Jew Ranger and then do their own thing with it.
What the fuck are they going to call this movie in Japan? They're going to fucking call it the Jew Ranger movie?
Yeah. No, they'll call it... Power Rangers came out in Japan.
It did?
Yeah.
There was no confusion over the fact that it looked just like Jew Ranger?
No, it was absolutely confusing, but it didn't matter. They still aired it in Japan.
How'd it do over there?
I don't have numbers in front of me to tell you, but I'm sure it was at least watchable.
Well, like, this is stupid. I'm going to go watch Jew Ranger.
But it's not like that's never happened in America either. There are TV shows that have been repackaged as something else anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you've had TV shows that have been repackaged as movies. Like that happened with the Incredible Hulk. There were just episodes that were taken, put on film, and called movies.
Yeah.
put on a movie screen rather.
Yeah, they used to do this. I don't know if they still do this, but they did this with the cartoons all the time. You know, you buy the first couple episodes of Samurai Jack on VHS, and it's billed as a movie.
They used to do that all the time in the 90s.
Which, to be honest,
I guess it's a little bit different than like taking a show and then repackaging it as a completely different property.
Which, to be honest, that show did it pretty well because the first few episodes of Samurai Jack do actually come together to make a pretty nice movie.
Yeah, they did that with the first couple episodes of Superman the Animated Series as well. It was packaged as the Last Son of Krypton movie, and it works really well because it's a 3-parter that opens that show, and it's a pretty good version of Superman's origin for the modern era.
Yeah, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder. Take notes.
Hating on Man of Steel this evening. We're fucking.
Yeah, controversial. We're just fucking rolling around in controversy tonight, aren't we?
I'm fucking hating on Man of Steel and fucking advocating spousal abuse. It's a strange episode.
Yeah, it's a weird episode of ZFOS where we're talking about controversy and child molestation and Jean-Baptiste and rides to McDonald's and Goku going evil. Angels Season 4 being bad. It's a controversial episode, dude. We're gonna fucking light some fires into some asses this week.
Yeah.
Gonna get some people going. So, I'm mixed on this concept art. Mixed, leaning towards bad. How about you?
I'm not crazy about that T-Rex design, but I kind of dig this pterodactyl.
I do like the whole entering through the mouth thing, and I guess that means that they're not going to jump into the air and just land in the Zords. I mean, it would be cool if they could, like, run off a building and then land on top of the Zords. Like, that's not that far-fetched. They do that in the Avengers, too.
Yeah.
But as if the Avengers is, like, the standard of realism that we have nowadays.
Right, yes, the Avengers.
I mean, there's a scene in Age of Ultron where Captain America has Thor kick his shield into Ultron, because that's realistic.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like, if more of our point is not that, the Avengers is the pinnacle of realism. It's more of the Avengers...
Realism, thy name is Thor.
Yeah. It's more of the Avengers is taken seriously by a mass audience of America, and there's no problem really taking it seriously and having it actually tell a compelling narrative with compelling characters. So that's what you need to do with Power Rangers in order to make it fit in more of a general culture rather than just this really niche group of, like, young kids and adults who can somehow watch it and not vomit.
Like I said,
like us.
Like I said, I'm okay if they don't necessarily follow the story of the original season. This just makes me wonder.
Again, just keep it like the spirit and the basic premise. Like, don't make it something completely different.
This just makes me wonder, what direction they are going and what the explanation is for, like, how all this stuff comes about in this version of the continuity. I hope there's...
Yeah, why does Zordon pick dinosaurs?
I hope there's still a Zordon.
Well, I guess he doesn't pick them, because he didn't create the power coins in the original canon. Maybe they'll change that, too.
I hope there's still a Zordon, but maybe there's, maybe the Power Rangers themselves are more of, like, a militarized entity, you know what I mean?
I don't want that.
It's just...
Well, I would be cool if, like, the Power Rangers built a lot of their own tech. Because that's something that we don't get enough of, is, like, the Rangers building enough of their own stuff. Like, maybe it's like a Tony Stark thing where it's like Billy...
But there's a reason
Billy Cranston builds his own tech.
There's a reason that we don't get a lot of Power Rangers building their own tech. They're teenagers.
Yeah, but Billy is building, like, fucking cars that can fly and interdimensional portals.
Well, Billy is Jesus, but the rest of them are just normal fucking teenagers.
But it's like Zach and Trini is also pretty smart, so why don't we have them together, like, building some shit?
Nobody's going to debate that phrase, Billy is Jesus. Okay,
I mean, I'm not going to fight it. I don't really care. But wouldn't it be cool if, like, Billy, like, built, like, the cannon and everything, and basically Zordon just gave them the basic powers, and maybe Billy builds the Zords? I would be cool with that, even.
But then what would even be the point of Zordon having, like...
It'd actually make more sense if Billy built the Zords, because why the fuck would Zordon... Why would Zordon, like, build giant robots that are based on dinosaurs?
I don't know. That's why.
Like, what if it's like Billy? What if they fight a giant monster?
That's why in the.
What if? Okay, Zordon. Imagine this. Zordon gives them the powers, and they go off and fight some of Rita's forces, and Rita grows one of her monsters, and then Billy then's like, we need, like, giant robots, and Zordon's like, okay, what do you need? He's like, I need this stuff, and then Billy then builds the Zords.
But you got to get all that done over the course of a 2-hour movie.
You could totally do it over the course of a 2-hour movie. Tony Stark builds like the bare concept of Iron Man in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Ultron builds an entire army of himself in less than a minute. That doesn't make it good writing.
Yeah, but you buy it though.
I didn't really.
My problem with Ultron was not that he was able to build...
I didn't really buy it. That was kind of my major problem story-wise. Was that...
With Age of Ultron?
Well, yeah, was the speed with which he built this shit. Especially the fucking machine to raise the city into the sky. That was pretty quick work.
More of my problem was like Ultron just like fucking pops in there and is all of a sudden a threat, and there isn't enough time to kind of go, holy shit, I built Ultron and he's evil now.
Yeah. See, that's...
There's not enough of that to me. It's just that he appears and is smart too quickly. I would have liked it.
See, that's why.
And they do kind of this.
That's why I was hoping that Ultron would pull. Like, I was hoping the movie would progress very differently, at least in terms of Ultron's origins. I wanted him to pull like a HAL 9000 and like
be there from the beginning.
Not necessarily be there from the beginning. I wanted him to like pull a HAL 9000 and like act good or whatever, you know, and then like fucking take over Stark Tower from the inside and like turn Stark's like armors against him and shit, and like from the inside instead of just waking up, killing Jarvis, and then being like, I'm gonna go kill the Avengers now. Like, there's no subtlety, you know? There's no...
Yeah, but he's doing that on purpose, to be fair. There is a point being made with why he does that. He wants the Avengers to be burned in public. Everybody hates them, which is exactly what he does. He unleashes the Hulk on that South African city and makes everybody hate the Avengers. So he does succeed in that. All of it works, having just rewatched it. The problem is just like... it just happens too quickly. Here's what you do, and they kind of do this in a way that I don't think works, but they do it. The movie opens in Sokovia with the Avengers raiding the Hydra base, and they have that scene where Tony Stark sends up the Iron Legion to help out with damage control.
Hope you guys didn't want a lot of Baron von Strucker after that.
Yeah, well, no, not a lot of people. Because we're going to get Zemo and Civil War, so Baron von Strucker is kind of irrelevant if you have Zemo.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They gotta make a big deal, you know, in the fucking...
I mean, his death was off-screen, though, and he was kind of the setup as the villain of this movie at the end of Winter Soldier, and then he just killed in the first 20 minutes.
He shows up and he's like, I am Baron von Strucker, and I am evil, and then he gets killed.
I was fine with that, because I don't care about that character. I'm more of a Zemo guy, so I was cool with that. And Ultron is way cooler than him, so fuck that. But anyway, so here's my point. So the Iron Legion is sent out.
He probably should have had more of a role in the actual, like...
No, I'm told he shouldn't have died. Here's my point. Tony Stark sends out the Iron Legion, and everybody's, like, throwing shit at them. Like, they throw acid at them, and they, like, try and break them, and all they're saying is, like, we're here to help. We are here to help. Please get clear of the damage zone area. And,
Mitch, did you just throw acid at my face? No, I wish they had said that.
Yeah, that would have... Listen... That is immediately like, okay, I get it. That is the plot. We immediately know Ultron's motivations before he's even created. Here's what they should have done. And they kind of do this, but this don't drive this point home enough. The point they make is that all they do is take the program that runs Loki's scepter, that uses the Mind Stone, and then apply that to the Iron Legion protocol. That's all they do. And I didn't realize that the first time I watched it. I thought they were building Ultron from the ground up. They're not.
No, yeah, they said that. They used the program from the Scepter to create the artificial intelligence.
Well, no, they already had it. The Iron Legion is the intelligence. It's just not Ultron level of intelligence. Because they have a scene where they compare Jarvis's IQ to what eventually becomes Ultron, and you can tell, like, it's way more advanced. It's crazy more advanced. So, the whole point is, like, so the whole point is, like, Ultron sees the horrible natures of humanity through what happens in Sokovia. Like, they don't want to be protected, therefore they don't deserve it. Because the whole thing with Ultron is, like, he's not trying to, like, he doesn't want to save people. He's not, like, trying to make some big point. He's just really fucking angry. He hates humanity, and he hates the Avengers. That's his whole point, and that's why the Maximoff twins abandoned him. And he's really hurt by that, by the way. There's this really great moment where Natasha, right after Quicksilver dies, spoilers. And Natasha goes up to
Quicksilver,
Ultron.
which they never call him that because legal bullshit, fucking dies.
No, that's not why they don't call him that. They don't call him that because like there's no reason to. They could have called him Quicksilver. They're going to call Scarlet Witch in Infinity War, and she's also going to be in Civil War. So, the whole point is like they. Anyway, so there's this moment where Natasha goes to Ultron after he got his ass kicked by the Hulk, and he's like, Natasha, why? And she says something I forget, and then she rips out. Because why are you going to die? And she goes, because you already killed me. Would you like to know how that feels? And then Natasha rips out Ultron's heart. That is a badass moment. That last fight scene is amazing. So they should have just stressed the whole point of like Ultron was already there from the get-go controlling the Iron Legion. And that the Ultron that is the villain of the movie is simply an extension of that. They needed to drive that point home more. And maybe they did, because again, there's like 45 minutes of movie that got cut out. A lot of it by Joss Whedon himself, to be fair. And there's a lot of talk about we're gonna get a director's cut. So I'm hoping that version will be a more kind of better paced piece, because my whole problem with the movie and why I can't really say that I think it's a better movie than the first one, even though I ultimately think it is that it's simply not as well paced. It's really kind of struggles with all the stuff it tries to do. Anyway, so that's our talk about Power Rangers. And ultimately the end of our episode. So, Dylan, do you have anything to announce? This is the usual stuff, right? The Jew Ranger.
The same fucking shit I've been announcing. I'm going to be finishing that fucking top 10 list for Jew Ranger, which I kind of need to get off my lazy ass and do already. Kaiju Spotlight episode about Gorgo.
Mm-hmm. Any headway on that, or no?
No.
Okay. Before we get on that, too.
Eventually, the fucking new DBZ movie will come out, and then we will review that.
And we will do a review of it, and if there's any more news on Dragon Ball Super, we'll probably cover it on here, so you can keep listening for our thoughts on that on this podcast.
Indeed.
Maybe a little bit on SOS with Andres, because he's also a DBZ fan.
I'm actually super stoked for this Resurrection F shit, though. I'm like...
It is going to be awesome.
It might actually be my most anticipated movie.
No, Jurassic World, dude. I'm so pumped for Jurassic World. That last trailer with the voiceover from John Hammond, that fucking got me.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for Jurassic World too. But
I've also gotten very excited for Ant-Man recently.
It's just a different kind of excitement. You know what I mean?
No, I can see that. Aside from that, after Ant-Man, it's pretty much it for the summer. Fantastic Four looks like crap. Terminator Genesis.
Later on in the year, we'll get Spectre and then Star Wars. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Spectre and Star Wars are kind of the big two. I kind of want to see Tomorrowland because I've heard it's really fun, but I'm not really like clamoring to see it. And Mad Max, I don't give any shits about, no matter how good it is. I've heard it's amazing. I just don't care.
Yeah, I've
never been a Mad Max guy. So.
I figured that movie was going to be shit, but there's actually been some good word of mouth. So.
No, my friend Jake told me it's like the best action movie in decades. So who knows what that means? But I've heard it's good. So if I cared about Mad Max, I would see it.
I don't know if it can be the best action movie in decades, plural.
I mean, I think that's a hyperbole, but that's Jake for you. He's just hyperbole.
Maybe in decade, but decades would mean that it would have to rise to a level to challenge Terminator.
It would have to be better than The Matrix.
It would have to rise to a level.
That would be something. If you said that, people would fucking put you on a cross and burn you alive.
It would have to rise to a level where it could compete with Terminator 2, and I'm not willing to accept that at all.
It would have to inevitably compete with the first three Mad Max movies. And I think there are a lot of people there who be like, fuck you, George Miller.
Yeah.
Cocksucker.
So anyway, yeah. Mad Max Fury Road, debatably, best action movie of the decade.
I mean, coming from two guys who haven't fucking seen it.
Probably gonna wait for video.
No, I won't even see it then. I just don't care about the franchise, which people will be like, oh, Bill, you're an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of am. Deal with it. Because there's nothing from DC this year. We have to wait until next year for that. And I am excited for Batman vs. Superman, as we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Right.
That's pretty much it, though. Ant-Man, I'll watch Fantastic Four, I'll watch Terminator Genesis, and then Spectre and Star Wars are later, and those two movies look fucking amazing.
Right.
We should probably expect a Spectre trailer to come out, a full trailer, probably in about July or August, probably.
Yeah.
I'm suspecting, because that's when the full trailer for Skyfall came out a couple years ago, was in July or August. I'm assuming that's when we get the full Spectre to actually, like, see some action.
I want Funimation to fucking give me a legit date for the fucking Resurrection F. I wanted
to come out in the U.S.
Exactly. I want to know when that fucking dub is coming. I don't want to keep reading articles where they say, summer 2015, and I'm like, can you narrow it down?
Does it even say that on IMDb?
I don't know. I'll have to check IMDb. IMDb's probably going to give me the Japanese release date.
It'll probably give you both. Maybe Wikipedia might give you both more efficiently, because they do that. They do that for the Godzilla movies. They'll give U.S. and Japanese release dates.
I checked Wikipedia. All it said is that they were going to do a thing that was kind of coming in the summer.
In the summer of 2015?
Yeah.
So I guess that's all the information we're going to get.
Well, I don't
really
think
for me.
that's accurate.
What?
All the articles I keep reading are saying summer, but then this IMDb is saying the 31st of December. I don't think that's accurate. It wouldn't be the first. It wouldn't be the first time something inaccurate was put on IMDb. Tommy Wiseau in 2014. Anyone?
Oh, that was a long time ago. Jesus, that was when we knew like nothing about that movie. It was like Tommy Wiseau is gonna star in Godzilla 2014.
Can you imagine if he was Joe Brody?
Oh, maybe that's what they were joking about. It was like Tommy Wiseau will be Joe Brody. There's something coming. You have no idea what it is, huh?
You were tearing me apart for it.
Something killed my wife. I did not kill her. I did not. Oh, hi, Sarazawa.
I have a right to know. Oh, hi, Mark. So, Ford, how's your sex life?
Hey, don't touch me, motherfucker. He's talking to the security guards who are, like, arresting them.
You are tearing me apart, Godzilla.
I'm done with this world. He falls off the fucking balcony.
Well, I want to see this version of the movie.
Fuck Bryan Cranston. Tommy Wiseau for the win. Oh, that's an announcement that I meant.
I want somebody to take Bryan Cranston's actual footage from the movie and just Photoshop in.
Dub over Tommy Wiseau. Like a really good Tommy Wiseau impersonator, which is pretty much everybody on YouTube does a pretty good Tommy Wiseau impersonation.
They dub in his voice and then they do one of those shitty Photoshop jobs. So you see Bryan Cranston walking around but with a cutout of Tommy Wiseau's head laid over.
Like the mouth is just like moving like a fucking cartoon character, like, I'm fed up with this world.
Yeah, I want him to be like fucking Mel Gibson on South Park.
Exactly. Precisely. That's exactly what we need. That's what this planet needs, is that exact thing. Okay.
Oh, hi, Bart.
So, I only have one more announcement to make. Maybe we'll talk about this next week. I have achieved something this week, Dylan. Achieved something grand. Technically last week, but whatever. I achieved something.
Did you acquire some pussy?
No. I completed the task that I set forth.
Did I even have to ask? I'm sorry, go
on. You're a horrible person. Fuck you. I set forth for myself years ago, as in a year ago, Dylan, I have started a diet. No. Well, that's true, too.
That's even more ridiculous than the pussy.
Actually, that one's true, but that wasn't the thing I was talking about. I
actually did start a diet.
I did, actually. It's been horrible. I'll tell you about it off recording. Maybe I'll talk about it on SOS.
Monumental.
Yeah, it's not great.
He's cut himself down to only one rack of ribs a day.
No, I've actually I'm only drinking Diet Coke once a day now.
Oh, that's your diet? That's.
Well, no, I'm also drinking. We'll talk about this later.
That's your man in the.
I finished Breaking Bad, Dylan. Fuck you. I finished Breaking Bad. I watched it. I stayed up like 6:30 in the morning. I watched fucking Bryan Cranston do some fucked up shit.
I like how that's
cry over the phone.
I like how that's the big change you make in your life. That's your.
I finished Breaking Bad. It's done.
That's your fucking.
I fucking Heisen closed that fucking show.
That's your fucking man in the mirror moment. Fucking
exactly.
cutting
I
down
smashed
to one,
the mirror.
cutting down to one Diet Coke and finishing Breaking Bad.
That is my life is making a turnaround, motherfucker. My life is gonna be fucking lollipops and fucking candy from this point on.
Is that right?
Just nothing but fucking great things for me. Now that Breaking Bad is finished, and I'm only drinking a little bit of soda a day, and the rest of the time I'm drinking fucking water.
Now you need.
And these weird, horrible veggie shakes that make me want to cut myself. Anyway.
Now you gotta watch Better Call Saul.
I do. I'm waiting for the season's over, right?
Yeah.
Whenever that goes on Netflix, I will watch it.
It's so fucking good.
I've heard so. Anyway, so Breaking Bad, also pretty fucking good. We can talk about that next week, maybe. We'll do a full kind of recap of Breaking Bad. You having seen it like a year ago, and me having seen it like a week ago. So it'll work fine. I don't foresee any problems at all.
We have broken much bad.
We've broken all the bad, motherfucker. Woo, 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 woo. So
I had this celebration
anyway,
a year ago. I don't know.
So that is everything that needs to be announced on this week's episode of the Demons from Outer Space, and the end of this week's episode of the Demons from Outer Space. Until next time, I'm Bill Worcester, aka Zazubaar.
On Super DM64.
And reminding you kids to not get in cars that offer you a ride to McDonald's. And also that dem Germans, they be fucked up. Sayonara.